Hi, my name is Cheyenne Baker. I'm 15. I'm from Waynesboro, PA. I'm here to tell you my story about self-harm and depression. Um, seventh grade was getting kind of difficult towards the end. I wasn't sure where to go with in my life or what to do or anything like that. In 8th grade, I just got angry. I was so mad at the world. Like, I couldn't take it anymore. And I started cutting myself so bad. And I was blamed for everything, and home life was weird. It was difficult. I didn't feel like I should be here. Everything was different. I felt like the whole world walked out on me. Like, sometimes people just don't understand what it's like to be alone, and it's one of the hardest things to ever go through. I mean, when I felt like I had no one to turn to and I was by myself, it just made me want to die. And one day in 8th grade, I was just sitting in Miss Beelman's room. She was my poetry class teacher. It was in the morning. And at this time, I was always wearing sweatshirts, always keeping my hands down. And I raised my hand to answer a question, and I'm pretty sure I was reading my poetry out loud. And she was like, "What's on your arm?" And I gave her my pathetic little excuse, and I was like, "Oh, nothing. I broke my four-wheeler. And she was like, "Oh, okay." And, I thought she believed it. And then a couple periods later, I was called down to guidance, and she's like, "Well, we've had people come down and talk to me, saying that they're worried about you, that you've been cutting yourself." And I was like, "No, I don't." And I tore my four-wheeler short again. I was like, I hit a tree, and they didn't believe me. And she just, I met with her a couple times after that, and she kept pushing me to tell my parents. Well, I'm scared to tell my parents anything. You're just instilled with that fear, like most parents do. But I was going through a lot of emotional things, and I could not bring myself to tell my parents. And she was like, "Well, at least let us have a meeting and we'll talk." Well, we were sitting in the guidance office, and my mom came in, and we were sitting there, and my guidance counselor, she just told her, just flat out, I cut myself. And my mom I don't know, her face just kind of dropped, and she looked at me, and I felt like I was getting blamed for everything, like it was all my fault. I know they didn't understand, but I felt like once again I was all alone. And my parents are one of the hardest things that I have to deal with. And there's always going to be stuff that they don't know, and stuff that you don't know, stuff that I don't even know. But honestly, my parents are one of the hardest things I've had to face. And I can't tell my whole story on here because of many reasons, but I can give you the bulk of it. And, well, after my parents found out, I told my dad the same night, and my dad started crying. It's not as bad. It's not like that. And I sat there, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do. And I would rather him be angry than disappointed. But when I knew he was disappointed, it killed me the most. And honestly, after my parents found out, and everybody else found out at school, I just wanted to die. I was still cutting myself. Nothing was helping. I just wanted to die. I told my parents I'd stopped, and that was fine, that I didn't want to do it anymore. And it was all a lie, because I did. I wanted to do it so bad. And I kept doing it. It got to the point, I swear, I almost needed stitches. And one of the worst times I've ever had to go through. I honestly had thoughts of killing myself, and I wanted to die. I was so alone. Everybody was looking at me different. I felt like such an outcast. And then it got to the point that I couldn't feel anything anymore. I was locking myself in my room. I didn't want to do anything. And my mom took me to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with depression. They put me on an antidepressant called Celexa, and it would knock me out for 19 hours at a time, and I refused to take it. I'm completely anti-medicine. I don't even take Tylenol or cough syrup when I'm sick. And they put me on that, and I just stopped taking it. I'd flush the pills down the toilet. I'd put them in soda cans and say I'm taking them, but I wasn't, because I felt like I didn't need it. I felt crazy on this pill. like, I was like thinking in my head that depression, it means you're crazy. And it doesn't. Depression, I feel, is one of the most unfair treatments, is one of the most unfair diagnoses. Because things get you down. Things will make you fall. And for some, those things fall back to back. And they just feel like they can't get up. But there's a point where you do need help. And I was there. But I couldn't take it. And I started having relapses. And I was cutting myself again. I was getting high. I was doing all that. And it wasn't worth it. Like, I made my life bad. I made my life terrible. I made my parents not like me. I made everything worse by doing this. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. And I finally stopped for a while. Like a couple months. And then I freaked out one night, and I know I have bad anger issues, but I freaked out one night, and my mom took me to the hospital because me and an ex-boyfriend got into a huge fight. But I freaked out, and I was like, oh, I'll walk there, and I started freaking out, and my mom just kept screaming at me, and I don't like when people yell at me, because then that just makes me so much more angry. And, like, all she needed to do was listen to me, and she didn't. So, like, then we just got in this huge fight, and she just kept telling me to take my medicine. And I was like, no, I'm not taking it. And she took me to the hospital, and I refused to be locked up there. And so they sent me to psychiatric rehabilitation in Chambersburg called the Meadows. And, like, when I was locked up in the hospital, I wasn't depressed. I had a good life. See my friends every day of my life. Could see them whenever I needed them. But then, when I went to the Meadows, my mom told me the rules changed. I don't get to see anybody that often. They don't trust me. And I don't get why not. But at the Meadows, I was really depressed, and I was going through a really rough time. And right now, I feel like I'm alone again. And this is the feeling I don't want. And I don't want you guys to have it. This is my story. And I'm here to help you. I'm happy as can be. I love my family. I love my friends. And I'll suck it up. I'll make it through. And now I'd like to tell you a little bit about why I want to make this foundation. And I want to make this foundation for teens because I've been there. I may have not been through the exact situation you have, but I know what it feels like to be alone. I know how you feel like the world just walked out. I know how you feel like there's not a care in the world, like no one can help you. But truthfully, all you need to do is open up and let someone talk. The only thing you need is an ear. And I want to prevent all you teens from dying at an early age because of depression and suicide. Suicide is the third leading cause of teens' death in America. There's so many ways to die, and it baffled me that suicide was the third, and that it shouldn't be that way. I want to prevent it. You deserve to live your life, and you deserve to live it happy. So take the opportunity. Inbox me. Send me your videos on your story. Tell us all about it. Open somebody's eyes. Get them to help. This is when the whole world needs to stand together, and we can make a difference. Just remember, a minute can save a life.